Love has never been a popular movement, and no one's ever wanted really to be free. The world is held together, really it is held together, by the love and the passion of very few people. Otherwise, of course, you can despair. Walk down the street of any city, any afternoon, and look around you. What you got to remember is what you're looking at is also you. Everyone you're looking at is also you. You could be that person. You could be that monster. You could be that cop. And you have to decide in yourself not to be.
Hi guys, welcome back to your Royal BFF, the People's Duchess. How's it going? So glad it's the weekend. Here chilling with some homemade stone bread, a little orange marmalade, and my beloved hibiscus spritzer. This time it's a true hibiscus. In my famous The People's Duchess spritzer, that recipe calls for sorrel. They are the same flower, but with different regional notes. The Jamaican varietal is called sorrel. The flowers are lighter, more plump, more tart, whereas Nigerian and other varietals from especially eastern ranges are more on the burgundy side of the color wheel, a bit more crisp in my opinion, a bit sweeter. But yeah, I'm sitting here with my sorrel drink, my good eats, and just rereading Spare. I thought of this particular quote from James Baldwin about how unpopular love is. This was 1965, and these words still ring true today. I mean, we all saw the response to Harry and Meghan holding hands and kissing and touching her bump. Any form or display of love was met with violence. And they do that to discourage you from loving yourself, from understanding that you deserve more than that, and from leaving. If you look at any social media platform, the number one types of content that is most consumed involve hate, violence, degeneracy, etc. Don't get me wrong, there are still some feel-good channels, pet channels that do well, but primarily people want drama and conflict. I guess to make themselves feel better, who knows? If you look on YouTube, for example, the best performing channels are those that cover crimes, drama, the negativity in life. So it's measurable. Channels that only report on positive aspects like teachers, city council meetings, these meetings with the data centers, nowhere near the numbers that crime channels and other channels similar to that are on YouTube or anywhere on social media. And when it comes to the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Harry, we can see that visualized courtesy of Feminegra. She did really comprehensive research on the coverage breakdown as well as the media bias breakdown across the royal family. And it's really interesting and eye-opening to see it visualized so clearly, something that we've always known. So it's really impressive when you put everything together that Harry and Meghan, using the power of love, can usurp this unquenchable desire for hatred and drama that the public does tend to seek out. The race bait, the rage baiting, really powerful tools to get engagement online. Contrary to popular belief, love and the people who have tried to spread love have always been met with violence. The same things going on today have been going on when I was born, when our parents were born. Every generation is just a new iteration of violence. So it takes someone unique and spectacular, and in this case, two unique and spectacular people to stand up for love. This is my third go around with this book. I read it the first time. As soon as it came out, I just devoured it that first weekend. Then I listened to the audiobook, and now I'm rereading it, and I'm still discovering things that I missed previously. It's a lot like my experience with my favorite movie, Sinners. I saw Sinners 3 times before I felt like I fully understood the true meaning behind certain scenes and certain lines spoken, the concepts and the nuances, all of the overt and subtle details. That third time around seeing the movie, I finally grasped them all. So I want to understand all of those little details and the nuances in this book as well. Y'all know the two things we love on this channel are fashion and a good historical deep dive. And the story of Harry and Meghan, in my opinion, the most interesting royal story since Diana. If Diana had written her autobiography, it would have very well done these numbers. She may have very well exceeded these numbers. Unfortunately, we'll never know that. However, her popularity was unlike anything any royal had ever seen at the time, and the same is true with Harry and Meghan. They are by far the most talked about, searched for, sought after, highly in demand royals since Diana. We've seen the data points. It's not up for debate. So this is going to be a two-parter. I want to go over it the way Prince Harry breaks it up. Part one is pretty much that inter-family dynamic, and then part two is his relationship with Meghan. So I want to start off with part one, where Harry does touch on that relationship with his family. I have these colorful, thin, rectangular mini post-its annotating the pages with whenever Harry talks about a specific subject. For example, there are peach-colored tabs for every time he mentions his mother, Princess Diana, hot pink tabs for every time he mentions the press, blue tabs for William, yellow for Kate, green for his dad, and then neon yellow tabs every time he is gaslit. In the first half of this book, he's really speaking about the growing tensions within his family and the press as well. There's a lot going on in that first half, and I appreciate Harry's tailored, layered approach to that storytelling. Harry does a wonderful job with being candid here. I missed the piece about Carolyn and why they stopped talking. I had read in the headlines that they had stopped talking over a riff, but obviously not true. And I'm so glad that I went back to read it, because even after having read it the first time, listened to the audiobook, it was still interesting to go back and reread how harrowing it was for him to try to maintain these relationships, how desperately he struggled to keep his relationships together, and just how much the press encroached on them. The tracking stuff with Chelsea we went over in the spare review, terrifying, but I didn't know he also went through so much ups and downs with other women. I didn't even remember reading that the first time I read it. And this time around, I'm also really struck by just how much balance Harry found between telling his story and telling things that happened to other people in his story. So these ladies, for example, he took extra care to protect their privacy and the intimate details, and his friends too. It was heartbreaking. Gives you a lot of background on why he would be so fiercely protective now of Meghan and his family. I think whether or not that had happened to him, he would still be very protective of Meghan and his family, primarily because of what he saw with his own father. Now, he loves his dad, don't get me wrong, but he feels very strongly about the mistakes Charles made in that marriage. He clearly wants to be a more present father. He didn't want to be an older father. He wanted to be younger to be able to have that time to play with his children and really take part in their lives. He wants to be in love with his wife. So whether or not the press had played such an integral role in shaping who he was as a protector, as a husband, as a father, he would have done that regardless, because he didn't want to end up like his dad. For the first half of his life, of his adult life anyways, and his dating life certainly, he just didn't stand a chance against the British media. His relationships did not stand a chance against the British media. I felt for Harry, I felt for those women, and you know what? Reading Spare actually had me feeling bad for even William, who, yes, Harry tries to make it seem like that relationship is genuine, and bless him for that, but I'm not sure that he was fully aware of the dynamics. He doesn't seem like he was aware. For instance, he didn't know about the engagement. So if your brother isn't telling you along the way, hey, I'm really falling in love with this woman, I think I can see myself with her forever, I'm going to ask her to marry me, I'm going to propose with our mom's ring. Like, if all of those aren't conversations that you two are having, then how knowledgeable are you really about how he feels about her, or what their dynamic is. He also takes this high road and gives the benefit of the doubt when it comes to William being labeled as work shy and how they chose to spend their time once they were starting a family. He prioritizes that. He said, well, he was busy starting a family and taking care of his family. Like, that was a thing to him. So he does give so much grace in this book. 407 pages. I'm currently on page 313. The annotations are taking the most time, but it's worth it. It's so worth it to know exactly what part of the book references what. It's also really nice to go back and reread something. It's kind of like rewatching an old show from your childhood with adult eyes. A lot of them don't stand the test of time. I didn't grow up watching a lot of TV, but I would sneak in some O Canada from time to time. Those cartoons still traumatizing. A lot of them wouldn't stand up to today's sensibilities, let's just say. But that's the nice thing about the early 2000s. It was a little bit less regulated and people just said whatever. And so, but this is a very much timeless book. Spare's message of love and hope and resilience will be relevant and discussed until the end of time. It is still the #1 selling royal biography, going on 3.5 years after its release, proving that people still want to hear from Harry, still refer to this book as a source. And now we have Meghan with her Instagram page and Archwell and their publicist. But Spare was a wonderful introduction to their journey, specifically Harry's truth and his journey. The writing is standout, brilliant in its composition, every battle, every dry mouthful of sand, every freezing cold dip into Arctic pools. I felt that. It's really striking when you consider that Prince Harry wasn't even 40 at the time. He was 38 years old and the book broke every type of record you could possibly imagine. Very indicative of the respect he held with the global community and the interest, how people received Harry, received his story. The interviews that he did with Anderson Cooper and Michael Strahan really went a long way, really helped to humanize him, which I have always seen Harry as a prince and a soldier and a husband and a father, pretty much in that order. And now I see him as a human first. That's going to wrap up part 1. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you miss anything the first time reading it? Have you read it more than once? I'll be back with part 2 shortly. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join our membership. We have a lot of fun in members only. Support our channel, Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thepeoplesduchess or scanning this QR code here on your screen. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Please be safe out there. Be kind to yourselves. And until next time, bye for now.